Hello, everybody. It's Michael from DePIN Hub here, and you might recognize this room I'm in because somewhat through permission, somewhat through force, I have commandeered the DePIN Hub of Lisbon, which is the office of our lovable co-founder and CTO, Daniel Andrade, because we have a special edition of the recaps today. We are starting our first ever monthly DePIN Hub verified recaps, where we will introduce you to the recently verified projects inside of DePIN Hub. Just so that you guys are aware, to remind you, we have this purple badge, which you can now find on DePINHub.io. And those projects are special projects that have gone through a somewhat rigorous due diligence process with us, where we ask around 20 questions that cover everything from funding to the team, roadmap, business model, why DePIN versus Web 2, etc. We then score it out of 100 points, and anyone who scores 75 or above is awarded the verified badge, which gives them additional exposure on DePIN Hub for 1 year and makes it easier for you all as members of the community to find projects that have actually been transparent and gone through the vetting process together with us to try to help you somewhat shortcut a little bit of that long and rigorous due diligence that's involved when you want to get into a crypto project, and especially a DePIN project where you actually might have to physically do something each day, right? So that is the verified program. We're super excited today to talk about 4 recent newcomers into the verified program. Those projects are Geodnet, Impossible Cloud Network, XYO, and Mawari. So we're actually covering 2 months, the months of December and January, because, hey, it was the holidays. So let's jump right into it. First up, our friends at Geodnet. So anyone who is unaware, Geodnet are the OGs of GNSS correction. That is Global Navigation Satellite Systems. So when you have a GPS device, for instance, if you're driving around, you're using some sort of mapping software, it's very normal that you might have 1 to 2 to even 3 meters of inaccuracy with that signal. It's not really a big deal. It's not going to affect your route. But there are new use cases, such as autonomous lawnmowers, drone deliveries, and special types of construction that actually require all the way down sometimes to 1 centimeter levels of precision. It was historically very difficult to achieve this without a massive network of base stations doing something called real-time kinematics, or RTK. So Geodnet has come in using a DePIN model to create a massive decentralized network of these correction devices, allowing us to achieve down to 1 centimeter level precision with our GPS and other types of navigation systems. So these use cases cover a huge spectrum, all the way from robotic mowers to location-based gaming applications, and the things I mentioned before around drone deliveries, construction, autonomous vehicles, also metaverse applications, and the list goes on and on and on. So it's super cool what they're doing. Geodnet has been around for years. Their token has been growing quite steadily the past year in particular. They recently closed some funding rounds, so things are quite hot with Geodnet, and actually they scored so far the highest of any project in our DePIN Hub verified due diligence system. So let's talk a bit about the team. The team is led by Mike Horton, their CEO, who has over 20 years of experience in the GNSS industry with a previous exit already within the aerospace industry. So he knows how to build and sell a successful company in this space. And then there's Yudan Yi. He is the head of GNSS, and he holds a PhD in something known as geodesy, which is essentially different ways and technological methods to map the Earth. All right, so it's a team that knows a thing or two about mapping. Let's talk about the token. The token is the Geodnet Token. It was originally launched on Polygon. It is now multi-chain. You can find it on various exchanges, and it's currently hovering with an FDV that's usually between around 300 to 350 million. So it's actually doing quite well for what's still a relatively early project. Now, if we talk about the scale of the network, we're already looking at around 13,000 miners deployed, spanning 140 countries around the Earth. We actually made an installation video about installing a Geodnet device a little less than 1 year ago. It's quite a popular video on DePIN Hub's YouTube channel. And I remember at that time pulling up the Map Explorer, and it was 6,000. So we're already over double that in less than a year. So things are growing quite well. Announcements. Let's talk about some recent announcements. Well, Geodnet recently launched their GeoPulse device, which is a consumer car navigation device said to be 10 times more accurate than traditional GPS. It can pair with their newly released Quest app, which will actually allow you to earn tokens by doing missions as you drive your car around town. Funding. Geodnet has closed $5.5 million over 2 funding rounds, which include some seriously top-notch investors such as Pantera, VanEck, Animoca, and CoinFund. So these are some of the biggest names in Web3. Some quick highlights. Well, there are multiple, but to name a few, 7-figure ARR, including closing major deals with demand-side customers that also include the US Department of Agriculture. And as we all know, it's not so easy to land government contracts. And also what's interesting is that a significant portion of Geodnet's revenue is allocated back to token holders. They're quite good about burning and buybacks. So those are some things that stand out. Geodnet, great project. You can check them out on the DePIN Revolution Academy course as well, where they actually talked about the launch of their GeoPulse device. So thank you, Geodnet. Welcome to the DePIN Hub Verified family. Next up, our friends at Impossible Cloud Network, sometimes known as ICN. If you've been paying attention to the DePIN Hub socials recently, and I hope you have been, you've probably seen us talking about a little node sale, actually quite a big node sale with Impossible Cloud Network. Some very exciting things are on the way, and we're going to touch back on that in a moment. But who is Impossible Cloud Network? Well, they are a decentralized cloud platform that connects enterprise-grade hardware with cloud service providers. In other words, you could think of it like a decentralized answer to AWS or the DePIN version of Microsoft Azure. Now, ICN already has service providers leveraging the platform today, with hundreds actually of business customers and worldwide real-world revenue that's already proving the performance and reliability of their technology. They're actually one of the highest earning DePIN projects right now. So it's quite impressive what they were able to do in such a short time in terms of demand-side revenue. Let's talk about the team. So Kai Warzenik, PhD, so as we could say, Dr. Warzenik, and co-founder Christian Call, also PhD. Dr. Call, both previously took Good Game Studios to over $1 billion in revenue, yes, billion with a B, and over 1,400 employees with a NASDAQ listing. If that is not respectable credentials in the DePIN space, ladies and gents, I don't know what is. Another leader on the team has launched ApeCoin, which is quite a well-known brand in the crypto space, and another has pioneered object storage technology, which is probably pretty relevant when you're building a storage platform. Other members of the team have worked for blue-chip companies such as Airbnb, McKinsey, and others. The token. Well, the token has not launched yet, but as we like to say, it pays to be early, and it's looking like a token is about to launch. It is known as ICN T, so be looking out for that in the very near future. Which chain will it be on? Well, we are uncertain, but if you look at the node sale, it very likely will be Arbitrum and or Base. What is the scale of ICN at present? Well, we're looking at over $3 million in ARR signed last year, covering over 1,000 customers. In terms of funding, very well funded at 18 million euros from major VCs that include 1KX, HV Capital, and Protocol Labs. ICN recently launched its SLA Oracle Node Sale. This gives anyone in the community out there a chance to take part in the growth of their decentralized cloud by verifying and validating activities within their blockchain network, such as, do you actually have this storage? What was your uptime? Etc., etc. It's a great chance for you to start minting those tokens right from your own node every day. Instead of trying to buy low, sell high, forget about it. Just make them every day with a sweet, sweet Oracle node. In case you missed it, you might still have a chance to buy, and there might be a place to run those nodes on very cheap and very reliably directly within the DePIN Hub platform. Look out for that. We'll be launching Oracle nodes on Nodi, DePIN Hub's new NAS solution, aka Node as a Service, very soon. Now, in terms of highlights, I actually already touched on it. I think what might be the most exciting currently with ICN is their go-to-market model. They're utilizing very mature cloud service business models, such as leveraging wholesalers and managed service providers. And this has already led to serious revenue, like we touched on, over 3 million in ARR last year, with bigger numbers, considerably bigger perhaps, forecasted for 2025. So definitely a project to look out for. Thank you, ICN, and welcome to the DePIN Hub Verified family. Moving along to number 3, XYO. Known as the Data Verification DePIN, XYO is actually one of the oldest DePINs out there in the game and also one of the largest, both by network size and revenue. XYO verifies location and other real-world data for both Web3 and Web2 customers. XYO has its own token. They also have something known as the Coin mobile app, and they offer various ways for the community to get involved, whether you're a developer or even someone like a truck driver. There's tons of different ways through using the app to actually mining the tokens, to running nodes, etc., etc. XYO has recently even launched its own blockchain. There was a lot of big news about this over the past 2 weeks. The ecosystem, even before that, was already quite robust and is founded in something known as the XYO core modules. This is essentially a wallet with a sovereign ledger, and it also comes with the ability to build and sign bound witnesses, which is essentially a wallet with a sovereign ledger and the ability to build and sign bound witnesses. The team, co-founded by Ori Trov, not sure if I'm saying that correctly, a serial entrepreneur who took his previous startup to $65 million in revenue with nothing more than a small pre-seed check. And Marcus Levine, who I actually spoke with the last week of January on the Verified X Space, and who also was featured on episode 32, I believe, of the DePIN Hub podcast with Daniel. The other founder is Scott Shepper, who technically left XYO back in 2019, but interestingly enough is recently working on an integration with Teslas that actually allow you to mine other cryptocurrencies, such as Doge, using XYO as the staking mechanism for network security. The token, the XYO token, is an OG token in the space. I believe its FDV is over 200 million, and it's already in full circulation, so you don't have to worry about a sudden unlock dumping tokens into the market, and they now have their own layer 1 as well. The chain is Ethereum. What is the scale of the network? As I previously mentioned, their scale is quite large. We're talking about over 8 million nodes installed, and guess what? Over $10 million in revenue, making it one of the highest revenue generating projects in all of DePIN. In terms of funding, XYO is well funded after raising over $40 million in 2018 and 19, both through token sales and share offerings. In terms of recent announcements, I already touched on it, but the week of January 27th, XYO launched their own layer 1. This allows other applications to leverage accurate proof of location and proof of origin via completely customizable sovereign chains that have built-in privacy. Highlights. Well, they're one of the oldest DePINs out there, which is already kind of interesting. Also with a highly solid revenue model, making over 10 million annually, making XYO one of the most revenue generating DePINs in the industry. And interestingly enough, and highly uncommon in the crypto space, they've also been officially financially audited, showing that they're very serious about transparency, and one of the reasons we scored them very high in our verification process. Last but not least, and something we also really love here at DePIN Hub, interestingly enough, over 80% of their new user base, so all of their new customers that come in and get onboarded onto XYO, are actually non-crypto natives. They're normies that are getting some of their first taste of crypto through a very seamless onboarding experience with XYO. So they're bringing people into Web3 via DePIN, the gateway drug, as Daniel Andrade likes to say, and we like that here at DePIN Hub. So XYO, thank you and welcome as well to the DePIN Hub Verified family. Whoa. What's that? Oh, next up, our friends bringing the world of mixed reality to life, Mawari. And no, these are actually not VR glasses, but you never know, they could be soon. Mawari. Mawari is a content delivery network for real-time extended reality media. XR, or extended reality, is essentially a catch-all that encompasses mixed, augmented, and virtual reality. Mawari has been exalted with such names as the MP3 for AR/VR and the $20 billion codec. Why? Well, because they've developed compression algorithms that allow streaming content to be streamed more efficiently than anything else that's been on the market to date. Part of this is due to their ability to split render, meaning that some content is rendered on the device and others in the cloud, allowing for reductions in things such as latency of up to 80% or more. Some of their leadership is based in Tokyo, but now they have team members spanning the entire globe, from Brazil to Russia to the US. Everywhere is Mawari. They've closed major corporate partnerships with such companies as the Japanese telco KDDI and T-Mobile. these are definitely not small accomplishments. The team. So to go a little bit deeper, Mawari was co-founded by Luis Ramirez, who is actually the co-founder of the famous MUTEC Music and Visual Arts Festival in Japan, and Alexander Borisov, who's a former head of a major leading software house that knows a thing or two about forward-looking technology. Their head of network is actually ex-Meta, who was heavily involved in early research in getting Meta into the realm of the metaverse and Web3, and their COO brings over 35 years of experience in tech plus 2 exits. Let's talk about the token. Well, the Mawari network is still pre-token, but it looks like that will change soon, because if you've been paying attention to our news or on the Mawari website, you'll see that they do have a node sale up and coming. So we're expecting to see a token launching in the near future. Which chain will that be on? Well, we can't 100% say. There's been some talk of Solana, but there's also potential of Arbitrum. So be looking out for more news about that in the future. In terms of scale, while Mawari has been primarily building under the radar to date, they actually have 50,000 plus hours in streaming content already delivered and over 100 XR companies on Mawari's SDK waitlist. So these are developers actually waiting to build XR applications utilizing their tech. Most of Mawari's deployments have been custom enterprise projects that are usually non-disclosed, but these have occurred in some major events, including in the last MUTEC festival in Tokyo, which had the world's first ever mixed reality discussion panel with essentially a 3D AI agent. May or may not have been an actor, we don't know, but it was literally projected right there into the middle of the stage, taking and answering questions from the attendees and the speakers. So it's quite cool, and that was powered by Mawari's tech. Funding. Mawari is well funded, raising $17.2 million across 2 funding rounds that took place in 2023 and 2024, led by major names in the DePIN space such as Borderless, as well as Antfield and 1KX, with participation from our friends at Samsung Next, also an investor into Hotspotty, and some other big names, including Animoca Brands. In terms of announcements, as I normally do, I've already given it away, but it's the upcoming node sale. We can't release all of the juicy details yet, but if you join DePIN Hub's Discord, you will see we have individual channels set up for nodes and node sales. We have a Mawari one. You can join there, and we will keep you up to date on all the latest and greatest news, as well as some potential discounts and promotions. So be looking out. Now, if we go through some quick project highlights from Mawari, well, we have a lot. First and foremost, Mawari already holds multiple patents for its split rendering technology. Something you don't hear enough about in crypto is actually holding IP for your tech. Mawari already boasts 7-figure revenue through serious corporate partnerships, including KDDI and T-Mobile, as we touched on. They also have a huge chance, and this is quite interesting, to be some of the tech that actually ushers in AI agents, which have probably been the hottest narrative in crypto other than certain meme coins in the past 6 to 9 months, but ushering in those AI agents from the world of 2D into the realm of 3D, so you can actually see and interact with them in a much more physical form. Mawari's growth is also propelled by some major tailwinds, which includes a need for 1,000x or more compute capacity over the next 5 years to actually power the needs of mixed reality content. You can imagine how compute heavy it is when you don't have one screen, but multiple screens in every single direction as you move. A very exciting node sale is also approaching, which will give everyone a chance to profit off of the imminent rise of mixed reality content. So look out for that. So Mawari, thank you and welcome to the ranks of the verified program. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That wraps up the verified recap for the months of December and January. Stay tuned. We'll be doing another one for the months of February very soon. Thanks again to all of you in the community. We do this for you to help you in your research process. And thank you for the participants for applying. And thank you for doing such a good job that you all passed with flying colors in the program. Michael from DePIN Hub signing off. Fellow DePIN revolutionaries, stay decentralized.